Hey everybody, we're live again with another Beyond Guitar video, and what we're going to do today is we're going to write a song, record the song, edit the song, mix the song, master the song, and I'm going to do it in less than an hour, I hope. Let's see how it goes. Okay, and tune in the chat in case you have any suggestions, but I'm just going to get started with figuring out what chords do I want to play, what kind of song do I want to play, what kind of guitar tone, what kind of drum part is it going to be. Okay, so I just set up my guitar with the basic rock sound. I don't know, let's do a hard rock song or a metal-ish song, okay? Here we go. So let's just go ahead and pull up. This is our Logic Pro screen here. All right, we're going to start absolutely from scratch, okay? So here we go. We're going to go ahead and let's just get rid of what's on the screen right now and start with a blank slate, okay? So let's delete this track. All right. Here we go. We have audio 1. I set up my guitar. Let's label it GTR, guitar. Okay, it's lighting up like a Christmas tree. All right, we got it. There's our guitar sound. I set the level and everything. Okay, let's begin from the very beginning. Step 1, tune your guitar. That should be the very first thing you do. Okay, since it's metal or hard rock or, you know, we really want to drive it, let's tune down. Okay, how about drop D? Okay, you know, the tuner in Logic Pro isn't super great, but here it is. I think we're there. All right, let's get started. So pick a time signature and a tempo. I'm going to go with 4/4 time signature. All right, and we're going to go with let's make it fast. How about 130? All right, there's our tempo. All right, now if I'm going to record a guitar riff, the last thing I want to do is listen to beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop, like it's a video game. I don't want to hear that stupid metronome. It's going to drive me nuts. Okay, but I do want to play with the rhythm. I want to make sure I'm playing on the beat. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call up a basic drum track, okay? And this helps me because I don't want to use the metronome. I want to record with the real, like the sound of rock. You know, I want it to go. So I'm going to go ahead and add a session drummer. All right, here's our drummer. And it has a track there. Let's listen to it. Okay, yep, that sounds fine. All right, so here's a bit of advice for Logic Pro. Don't put the beginning of your song at the very first moment here where it has measure 1, okay? Make your song start in measure 2 or measure 3. I'm going to go with measure 3. Why is that? Okay, musically, because I always do a wind up or a slide up or pickup notes, right? So when a song starts, it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4. Play. It's 1, 2, 3. Play. There's always a wind up. All right, and if you don't leave room for that wind up at the beginning, it's not going to get recorded. All right, and if I have friends over and I want, hey, bass player, start at the top of the song, go. Well, where's the 1, 2, 3, 4? So you have to have a little bit of space there. And I know on the metronome, there's a count-in feature. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to leave 2 measures of space right there. Okay, and even if I turn my metronome on, it's going to give me a couple measures of, it's going to give me 8 counts. Okay, so I got 8 counts, and then I can play. Now I can do my wind up, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pickup notes. So leave a space there at the beginning. Okay, so I don't know what I'm going to play yet. I'm just composing this song right now, live in front of you. So I don't know how long the song's going to be or what I'm going to play. Let's just make it, 94 measures. I'm just picking that randomly. Okay, so I just dragged that out. We got a 94 measure drum loop, okay? Let's check to see how much time that is. That is 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Okay, that's pretty good. About 3 minutes-ish. All right, here we go. So what chords should I play? Feel free to chime in the chat if you have any great chord progressions, but if not, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. How about I'll just pick a random note, B flat. And I'll go to, how about F? Okay, intro is B flat and F. Play that a couple times. Okay, and then I'll try to come up with some kind of sick metal riff, like, with a lot of chugs, like, maybe I'll go, I like that. Okay, maybe it climbs up. Okay, that's cool. And then repeat, but go higher. There we go. Okay, a riff is born. Verse, chorus, then maybe bridge. I don't know, I'll play the first fret. Long note, I'll just hold it out. All right, here we go. Take it from the top. 3, 2, 1, smoke burn. Start on B flat. Okay, we got it. So there's a basic track. Okay, let's keep going. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select this guitar track that I have, hit Command D, duplicate. So now I have another track ready to go. It's all armed. We're going to hit the name of it and name it Guitar 2. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pan one guitar hard left and one guitar hard right. All right, and then you know what? Let's change up the sound. So let's get a different sound going. All right, so we'll just pick something from the box of tricks. So we got the Fractal Axe-Fx 2. How about this one? It's just a different metal sound. It sounds like I switched amps. All right, so different tone. All right, so that's pretty good. It's a good sound. Okay, now let's lay down a second track. Press the return key, and it brings you back to the beginning. And then press record. Here we go. Second track. Whoops, I messed up. It's 2 measures of B flat instead of 1. Okay. Apple Z or Command Z for undo. Okay, starting over. That still wasn't right. Take 37. Take 38. One, two, three, go. we got it. All right, let's keep going. So we can take these out of record. And so far we have bass, or I'm sorry, we have drums and 2 guitars. So we need to add bass. All right, let's add a bass track. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and just go track, new tracks, add an audio channel, and it's going to say input 2, because that's where I'm going to plug my bass in. And here it is. Let's go ahead and name it bass. Okay. For some reason it comes up pan to the side, because maybe it's because the previous track was pan to the side, but for bass we want it pan straight to the middle. All right, here we go. So this time I'm going to unplug my guitar. All right. We're going to grab the bass. Let's grab the bass and plug it in. All right, so plug the bass in. Here's a couple thoughts. You might want to get something like, this particular unit is a direct box. Okay, so a lot of people, they just use a direct box for bass because bass sounds best just plugged in direct. I mean, you could mic it if you want, but you're going to get a nice clear signal without room reverb or hum or hiss just by plugging your bass straight into a direct box. You could get a cheap one, or you could get a fancy one like this. This is a BBE. It's just a basic direct box, mono, okay? And it has some, sonic maximizer qualities, which I usually dial into about, 10 or 20%. Because if you turn it all the way up, then it gets a little crispy, right? So, I don't know, about 9 o'clock on the dials is about all you'll ever need as far as the sonic maximizer processing. Okay, and that was like a $29 used gear find, all right, at Guitar Center. All right, and then I got this guy at Music Go Round, okay, $49 for a used one. It's just a 2-channel mic preamp, and there's little preamp tubes like 12 AX7s in there, okay, and so you have this control of how much sound you want to put through the tube, and it colors the sound a little bit. Maybe adds a tiny bit of compression. Okay, so if you're recording at home, I think the last thing you want to do, is plug your microphone straight into the computer, or plug your bass straight into the computer. What you want to do is plug your mic or your bass into a nice preamp with some tubes in it, and set your gain, pretty high, like as high as it can go without distorting. And then when you send it to your interface or you send it to the computer, you can have that gain setting very low. And so you'll get virtually no noise, all right? And so anyways, what I find a lot of times is people might plug their bass into their passive bass or another instrument right into the computer, and then they're like, oh, well, I have to turn the gain almost all the way up in order to get a proper signal. And then you get all right, to avoid all that stuff, get a nice mic preamp and then set your gain structure so that you're getting as much sound out of it as you can, and turn up the output. And then when you send it to your computer interface has its gain very low. Like mine's on about 2. Or if you're thinking of a clock, it's like at 9 o'clock. So there's plenty of space there. And there's not a lot of noise, okay? All right, we're ready to rock. Let's go ahead and just triple check that we're, oh boy, it's way out of tune. For your very best For your very best recordings, tune it, tune it, tune it. You gotta be absolutely in tune. Okay, here we are. All right, let's throw some bass on there. We're going to go all the way, of course, back to the beginning. We're going to take it from the top. Okay, how's our level? I can have just a tiny bit more gain there. Oh, too much. Set your level just right so you're not peaking. I think we're there. All right, here it goes. I didn't tune it right because my guitar was in drop D. Okay, the bass is in drop D also. All right, start over. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. We got it. It was a good take. All right, put the bass away. We got our basic tracks. Okay, here we are. So let's move on. The next thing I want to do is I want the drummer to play the fills in the appropriate places. All right, and so I'm noticing that the drummer plays a fill, but he doesn't play it in the right place. Come on, drummer. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to work on that. So here's the best thing that I would recommend. You might start with the drums. Okay, what we want to do is we want to plop the cursor right here at the beginning of measure 5. And we're going to select the drum region, and we're going to press Command T. Okay, look what happened. It made it its own region, right? It's a separate region. I separated the region. Okay, now that I separated the region, what I can do is I can double click on that region. Bam. Now you get all this cool stuff that comes up. What do you want to do with it? Well, let's go out to details. You can control the ghost notes. You can control the hi-hat. If you scroll down on the main screen, you can control how much of the fills do you want to do. You know what? I want it to be 100% fills. Fill complexity. Turn it up. Overall complexity. Turn it up. And if your computer's slow, you might have to hit regenerate. All right. Now let's see if it thought of something better to play there. Okay, yeah. We don't need the metronome anymore, right? Let's turn off the stupid beeps. All right, so at this point in the project, there's never going to be a beep, boop, boop, boop. That's gone forever, all right? That's only for helping you to record your tracks and come in at the beginning. We're never going to hear that sound again for the rest of the session. Okay, so we got our fill. That's cool. Okay, you know, maybe it's a little long, and so why don't we shorten it? Okay, hopefully it keeps that cool little fill. All right, here we go. That's it. Okay, we got it. Now, how long is our phrase? It's 8 measures, of course. It starts in measure 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It ends in measure 13. That's the end of the musical phrase. Okay, if you've ever composed a rock song, your phrases of your verse and your chorus are 4 measures and 8 measures. So, I put the cursor 8 measures ahead. Again, I'm going to hit Command T. Okay, and what happens to Logic Pro? You can see that the drum is playing, the drum is playing, the drum is playing, and then at the end of this region, at the end of the region, you see these little blips like, oh, there's a fill right there. You can literally see it on the screen, okay? I wonder if I could zoom in a little bit more there for you. Okay, see how it's blip, 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 blip. Right there, you can tell there's a fill in the music right there. We want the fill to be in the 8th measure of the composition. All right, so let's listen from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fill now. Awesome. Okay, where do we want the next fill? You guessed it, 8 measures later. Okay, so you got to go 8 measures ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should be here. It kind of looks like there's one already there, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell the computer, hey, this is the end of that region. It usually puts a fill in at the end of a region. So there it is. Now let's hear this phrase. Have you ever done mixing and mastering where you just listen to one phrase at a time? This is phrase 2 of the song. Okay. Couple of random thoughts as you record, mix, master, edit, and all this stuff. You do have to have you are going to jump around a bit. You have to split your attention and multitask, right? Okay, so here we are working on drum fills. But also, did you notice we're getting a red light on the master? That's bothering me. Okay, we don't want red lights. So I can click it to clear it, but it's going to come back as soon as I hit play. On the stereo out, just because of tidiness and a little bit of just habit, I'm going to go under audio effects. I'm not going to record with mastering. That's not going to work out because it creates too much latency in the program. And it's hard to play your instrument with too much latency. So mastering doesn't come till much later. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go adaptive limiter stereo. Okay, I don't really need to boost the overall track by anything. I guess I could turn it to 0. But I'll just go with 1 decibel. All right. True peak detection on. Out ceiling. Minus 0.1. Whenever I have worked with Pro Tools, I'm a Pro Tools certified operator, and I started to use Pro Tools at an internship at Sharon Studios in Toledo in 1995. And you know what we did in every session? We always set the master out ceiling minus 0.1 decibels. I've done that in every session I've ever done. The out ceiling isn't 0.0, okay? Because if your loudest note goes all the way up to 0.0, you just clipped. So we want to have our out ceiling at minus 0.1 every day, every song, every session, every time. There. Okay, and then here's, the next section of the song. And we can go ahead and split our drum track right there. There are other things up here too, like markers and arrangement. And that works great if you're working on something with a lot of keyboards and, you're doing not a metal track. With all guitars and bass and instruments, I'm not going to set up the arrangement or the markers, okay? I could just change the color of this region and so I know that it's the chorus. That's one possibility. But right now I'm not going to mess with any arrangement things. I guess I could put a marker and just say chorus. Okay. Is that important? I don't know. I guess, even if I zoom all the way out, I can still tell where the chorus is. It's at the beginning of this region because I'm splitting the tracks at every phrase, okay? Phrase coming up. 5, 6, 7, 8, down. Right there. We'll just put a marker and it says, verse 2. Okay, that's just a way to get organized. A couple other random thoughts. All right, so none of the tracks have EQ or compression or anything like that. So let's just dive into that for a few. So here I am. I got my bass track. And over on the side, it pulls up your bass. And you have plenty of space here to just click the EQ button. It pulls up your EQ. Oh, I guess you can't really see that, but it doesn't like to show that. Okay, we got our mixer window. All right, so on our mixer window, I can click on the EQ window. Darn, it doesn't show you on this. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually gonna, on every single track, think about this for a moment. Your ears can't hear below 40 hertz, right? It's impossible to hear those sounds. And for most speakers, whether it's in your car or at your home stereo or your headphones, or you're listening to the song at the grocery store through the speakers in the ceiling, you know what? None of those speakers can produce a 40 hertz tone or below. So therefore, I'm going to cut all frequencies below 40 hertz, or we'll just say 35. Why? Because number one, you can't hear those anyway. Number two, it's going to give me more headroom. Number three, I don't want to muddy up. If the speaker is trying to create a 35 hertz wave and all this other music, it's going to struggle. It can't do it. So I don't want it to produce any waves that are outside the range of human hearing. Therefore, I'm cutting all frequencies below 35 hertz. All right, maybe if you are into like electro, EDM, dance music, stuff like that, all right, you might want to put some of those things in there, because maybe you're at the club where they have some subs and they can actually reproduce those sounds. Okay, I get it. But for now, I'm cutting every single frequency below 35 hertz on every track. Every track. Okay, guitar, you're getting your frequency cut below 35 hertz. All right, other guitar, you're getting your frequency cut below 35 hertz. All right, now let's go back to the bass for a second. We're going to pull up some compression on the bass. I guess, next time I do a stream like this, I'll do a screen capture where you can see the windows. It's not showing you the plug-in windows, sorry, but I'm just pulling up a standard compressor. And a lot of videos that you watch online say, set your compressor to 2 to 1, or maybe 2.5 to 1. Nah, it's hardly doing anything. I'm going to start at 5, okay? 5 to 1. That's a great place to start. I might turn it up. Threshold, minus 30. I like to see how it sounds if you turn the attack all the way to 0. Okay, so right now it's set on just kind of a basic, it's kind of the factory setting for the attack and release. I'm going to turn the attack all the way up. I'm missing some pick sounds. Turn the release all the way up. Okay, now I'm going to slowly back off the release a little. Okay, some of the pick sounds came back. And I'm going to set the output gain so that it doesn't clip. There we go. Last note's a little bit loose there, isn't it? All right, let's tighten up our ending bit. We have da-da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-da-dun. The drummer doesn't even play anything close to what the guitars are playing in unison. How do we fix that? Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Okay, it starts in measure 93. And what we're going to do is we're going to split off this ending bit, this last measure of the song. So Command T. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this little tail region here, which is just da-da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-da-dun. The drummer's playing some other thing. He's playing a different song right there. Okay, come on, drummer. We want you to play a specific thing, and we need to program it because what's there isn't good. All right, so you hit Control and click on the region, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go Convert to MIDI region, and it turns green, and you see all these little dots. Okay, those are your MIDI notes. Okay, I'm going to double click on that. Okay, and it pulls up kind of like it's a piano roll. And here are all the notes. Okay, red is kick. That's a kick. This is a snare. Okay, what we want to do is go snare, snare. It zoomed out a little on me. We want to go snare, 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 snare. Not woodblock. No, let's put let's go snare, 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 snare. Well, let's make that one a rim shot. Okay, what are these? Hi-hats. Crash. No, let's erase the crash. Okay, we're not going to play any crashes. We're not going to play any toms. No toms. Goodbye, toms. Kicks. We don't want those. Snare edge. Okay. We're going to just... I'm holding Option and dragging with the mouse to copy a note. Okay, let's see how this sounds. What I wanted to do is go da 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 ch and hit that hi-hat. Maybe I can go da 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 ch da 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 ch. 2 hi-hats. Okay. Yeah, that last hi-hat sounds dumb. Okay. Da 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 ch da 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 da. You know, maybe that low tom would sound cool during the last note of the song. That's what we want right there. Okay, so in that case, we programmed a specific drum part. There we go. All right. Let's tie up some loose ends. Okay, so at the end of the song, we have just these long regions here of just empty blank space. And usually at the end of a song, you might hold out a long note. And you'll put in a long fade out. Like maybe there's a cymbal crash and you want it to just last. Okay, but this song has what's called a button ending. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, it's over. There's not going to be lingering sound that's lasting. Okay, so we're going to fade it out quickly. I like to always just have, so you have these commands up here, which are your pointer tool and your secondary tool for when you hold down command. And you have this whole list. And so I'm going to choose fade. And so I have my pointer tool and my fade tool at all times. Here we go. Fade, psh, fade, psh, fade. Okay, and then always kind of curve it a little. There we go. All right. Since we cleaned up that beginning and it's nice and clean, or since we cleaned up the ending and it's nice and clean, let's do the same thing to the beginning, right? So the beginning of the song, we don't need to hear all this like guitar amp buzzing while the drum plays the intro, right? It needs to be dead silent. So we're going in, and see, that's just noise. Those little blippies there, that's nothing that's musical, all right? And so we're going to fade like that. There we go. Okay, now how does that sound? Perfect. All right, so we got fade ins, fade outs. We got the drummer exactly the way we need him. Okay, darn, I'm coming up on my hour, and so we ran out of time to do the whole project in 1 hour. But anyways, so here's a couple other thoughts. This is what I would do next. I would go to the drum track. It's called heavy, but it's the hard rock setting in Logic Pro. Select that track, go over to drum kit. Okay, see how it's green on the drum track? It says drum kit. Here's your drum kit. You can set everything the way you want it. You can change any one of those drums and put in a different drum. If you want to fix the balance, if you're like, well, the bass drum needs a little bit of a bump. Snare drum's too loud. Okay. Hi-hat. Let's bring it down a pinch. Okay, so you can set your balances there like that too. Oftentimes what you'll do, you could hit this bass drum and you get out a tuner and you say, the bass drum's hitting. What note is it? You want to know when the bass drum plays. Drums have a pitch too. We need to set the bass drum to the key of the song or to a fundamental note in the song, the fifth, or maybe, not a third, but not a tritone. Don't set it to a tritone. Okay, figure out. Okay, this song is D. All right, what pitch is the bass drum? Might need to have like a tuner or something. Okay, and so anyway, that's going to be a fundamental thing in rock and metal music, is tuning the bass drum to fit the song. Don't just pull up a bass drum and go, I like this bass drum, and then that's it. You've got to do a little bit more to the bass drum to make it lock in with the bass. Okay, speaking of that, what we can do now is we can click on Drum Kit Designer Multi-Output. All right, what does that do? That allows us to take this drum track and blow it up. Psh, there's your kick. Psh, there's your snare. Psh, there's your toms. Psh, there's your hi-hat, percussion, cymbals and such. Okay, so now each one is on its own separate track. Okay, here we go. We have our kick. We have our snare. We have our toms. We have our hi-hat. All right, so go to kick. Here's our kick. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the bass track. Here's our bass. Pulling up the compressor. And you can set the side chain. You can set the side chain of the bass compressor to trigger when the kick hits. It's an essential part of rock and metal. Here we go. Take your kick. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to go to your kick and go send bus, I don't know, pick a number. 31. The kick is now being sent to bus 31. We'll give it almost unity gain there. Okay, now you see this track, aux 5, which is just a duplicate of the bass drum, right? Well, we don't want that to actually play audibly, so we're turning the fader to 0. Let's label it BD bass drum. Okay. Okay, it's still being sent there, although the fader's down. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the bass guitar track, open up the compressor, and we're going to set the side chain to bus 31. Bam. Okay, now every time the bass drum kicks, it's going to compress the bass. Now we can set it at like -5 or -10 would be too much. All right, let's see how that sounds. I'm going to solo the kick and the bass. Let's set it extreme. Okay, this is off. I'm going to slowly bring it in. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to bring it in. Here it is off. Here it is on. Okay, so it's just another thing that you do for mixing drum and bass. Okay, we haven't added reverb to anything yet, but let's do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Ascend, and we're going to pick a number. Let's say bus 7. Guitar, bus 7. Other guitar, bus 7. We don't need reverb on the bass. We will add some reverb to the snare. And we'll add a little bit of reverb to the toms. Don't make the mistake of burying the toms in a ton of reverb. Just a little. Okay, and then lots on the cymbals and hi-hat though. Okay, this is our reverb. And we're going to go ahead and choose, let's use Chroma Verb. And I'm just going to pick a random preset, like I like large room. Okay, let's hear just the reverb. This is just the reverb. Okay, always EQ your reverb. There we go. we're getting somewhere. All right, we used up our hour, but anyway, hopefully you thought that this was pretty useful with the way that I just kind of started from the beginning and put the whole song together just right now. So here we are. Let's listen to the song top to bottom and then we'll stop. And as it's playing, I might go ahead and tweak some of the balance and tweak some of the compression and tweak some of the reverb. But as it plays, let's just listen to it beginning to end. And here it goes. And there it is. Okay, so we're going to stop for now, but next time what I want to go through next time is I want to add some keyboard and some synth, some piano, some kind of ear candy stuff in there. And so what I can do is I can go like this. First chord, B flat. Okay, that's a B flat chord. Right here, it's a F chord. Okay. Then it plays a B flat chord. Whoops. Okay, we got B flat, we got F. We got B flat, we got F. Okay, then at that point it goes to D minor. Okay, and so for example, if I just say, hey, give me a new track. Let's have a new track. Maybe it's a synthesizer. Okay, and so here we have an automatic keyboard part that the computer thought of, okay, based on these particular chords. All right, let's see what it came up with. Okay, maybe I don't want piano. Maybe I want a different instrument, like a synth. Not that, though. Let's pick something cool. Hey, there we go. That's kind of nice. Like that one. Okay, let's see how that sounds with the music. Okay, and then maybe in this section we don't want it to go da 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 da, and so instead we can change that. Maybe we don't want those broken chords. We could try arpeggiated. Yeah, that's better. We can also try freely. Yeah, that's not as good. There are several choices, you know. You can go simple pad. It's just going to play a chord and hold out the note. It's not going to do anything special. I kind of like that. Okay, so we can always add a keyboard, and it takes a little programming because you got to type in all the chords. But let's work on that next time. Okay, well, if you thought that this video was super helpful, then please drop a like and hit subscribe. And then I'm going to do another video like this tomorrow, so hopefully you can tune in then. Thanks, everybody, for checking it out. My name's Andy Schiller, and this is Beyond Guitar. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.